Okay. This is the City of Washington, Missouri Board of Adjustment meeting, February 12th, 2025. I am calling this meeting to order. Gina, will you do roll call?
Sure. Gwen Montel,
Present.
Samantha Wacker,
Here.
Jason Pellin,
Here.
Kevin Creedy,
Here.
Mark Scornia,
Here.
Sarah Skeen.
Yes, here.
Will you join me in a pledge of allegiance? Please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Tonight we have two files to take a look at. We'll start with file number 25-0201. Gina, do you want to read that one? Or do I?
You do.
Okay. Duke's Way, the applicant is requesting a variance to allow for the enclosure of an existing deck located in the rear setback. Is someone here to speak about it?
Gwen, if we could have staff go ahead and go.
Okay,
Yeah.
Sarah,
Staff
go ahead.
So I'm going to run through a
Yep.
couple slides. You should have them in your packet
Get
as
to you.
well. So this one is our zoning slide, and you see the property in question highlighted with teal. It is a R1D zoning, but you can also see that we have some senior development on the east side and on the south side of that property. And then here is an aerial view. You can see how the house is laid out on that property, right real close to the side setback there. Rear setback, it's outside of the 25-foot setback, but you'll see that the deck, which is allowed, but it's actually 4 feet into that 25-foot setback currently. Here is the plat that shows you where the easements are for that lot. So you can see it was a difficult squeeze to put that house centered in that lot because of that easement. Here is a rough sketch of where the deck currently resides attached to that house. You can see it encroaching in that rear setback. And then this is the drawing that I superimposed over the aerial with that deck there in that rear setback. So in our code, we do allow a encroachment into that rear setback by up to 10 feet for decks. As long as they remain open, they can have a cover over the top, but they can't be enclosed. Once they're enclosed, they're considered part of the building, and so then therefore they're in the rear setback and it's not allowed. So the situation, and did Robert make it in? There, okay. So Robert would like to enclose that, screen that in, add a roof to that deck, and right now as it stands, he cannot unless we allow for a variance of that rear setback by 20, to 21 feet instead of 25.
So he could even put a roof on the structure.
He
right
can,
now.
yes, he can put a roof.
It's the screening that's the problem, right?
Correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
Once you start to enclose.
right.
Sarah, does city staff have a recommendation? I might have missed that in the report.
No,
Okay. No, not one way or the other?
no,
Okay.
neutral.
Okay, are we ready to hear from the applicant?
Yes.
Does the applicant want to speak or someone? Do you want to speak? Please state your name.
My name is Paulette Monzik, and I'm the owners.
Sure.
Hey, Paulette, could you pull that microphone down?
Sorry.
Yeah, because, thank you.
Okay, is that better?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Paulette Monzik, one of the owners. I was just going to say, all of the other units in our area, many of them have screened-in porches, covered decks, and all that. So what we're asking for is not something that would stand out as an eyesore in this neighborhood. Also, the other side of all this property is a driveway leading into the nursing home. So it's not like we're really encroaching on someone's, well, buildable property, let's put it that way. So that was all I wanted to say, I think.
Thank you. Does anybody on the board have questions for her?
No, I don't think I need to say more. It's pretty sensible. And we could go ahead and just put the roof on, we know that.
Right.
But we're putting screens on. It's not really a livable space, except part of the year.
And sir, we know who you are, but could you state your name just so it's a clear record?
Robert Monzik.
And you are one of the owners as well, correct?
Thank you. Hi, who are you?
Hey, Luke Durker, I'm the contractor, or the contractor's son, who gets to come do these things in the evening. The other thing I wanted to mention was, in talking with the permitting office, because of the way that there's two road frontages here, you know, they said normally, if there weren't two road frontages, there would have to be a 25-foot setback. But they did say that technically it's, from what they could see, only a 6-foot setback would be required back there because of the two road frontages. Now, I'm just getting that from the
Who
permit.
is that,
Yeah,
who is they,
so-
sir?
That was what I got from the permit office, is
Oh,
that
okay.
the two road frontages changed. I didn't know if that was pertinent or not, but,
I'm going to clarify part of that
Please do.
conversation.
oh, okay.
So when I spoke to Robert last fall about this, I was under the assumption that two fronts meant two sides. I was told by somebody, I'll remain unnamed, that that was the case. And then when I went to look for that in the code, I couldn't find it. So I conferred with Darren, he said, no, that's not actually the case.
Then, never mind.
No worries.
I apologize across the board. I even didn't know, and I took a word for it, so.
Is anybody in opposition of this? Okay, are we ready? Does anybody have any other questions?
I just had one question.
Okay, go
Like I said, I was talking to Gwen earlier. Is there a definition for enclosed in the code? Because I looked for it and could not find it.
Right.
I can read that if you want. I had been fortunate enough to
Look at that
this at the
book.
previous meeting. So you do have, within your code, it talks about rear yards, and when you have, let's see, what section? I just thought I had it covered here. Hold on. An elevated deck, covered or uncovered, so either way, like we mentioned before, provided that such deck shall not be enclosed nor shall extend into the required rear yard setback by more than 10 feet. So as long, it can be covered, it can be uncovered, like we said earlier. As soon as you enclose that,
What's the definition of enclosed?
Right.
we go by the definition of enclosed is it's a, there's no way that you can go, I guess the best way to go ahead and do it would say, you have something prohibiting movement through the building. I mean, if you got a deck that's over it and it's open air, I guess then that's fine. You can go ahead and encroach by 10 feet.
Because I did find a definition for like an enclosed smoking area, which is two walls, and it says screening one. So there's a definition for that, but I've never seen one for an entire room. So
Right.
I was assuming that would be just taken for the entire floor space for the deck, but.
Essentially, it's some sort of barrier, whether
Yes.
it's a solid barrier or a
Correct.
screen-type barrier.
Because once you could do that, then you can start to do other things with it. You could put up, you
Sure,
know,
'cause
can make it a
screens turn into
3-season room. You
windows
could do
or-
all kinds of it, and then it becomes part of the main structure, and then the code kicks in and says, no, you gotta have a 25-foot rear setback.
Thank you for defining that.
And could I clarify, if I understand this correctly, that, you know, it's permitted anywhere else, the issue is because of the penetration into the setback?
Correct.
Okay.
From our, and there is really no, I haven't been able to find an actual enclosed definition.
Yep.
So the concept is that once you have a covering, that it becomes part of the original building. So,
Good. Okay. Are we ready to read it and vote?
I think so.
Okay. Gina, will you read it?
oh, I have it.
Sorry.
That's
Sorry,
okay.
Sarah.
I'm
Please
new to
read it.
this, but I was told this was part of my job too. So whereas the board does find and determine that the property in question located at 2283 Dukes Way is within the city limits of the city of Washington and is located in a R1D single-family residential zoning district, and whereas City Code Section 400.075 F3 minimum depth of backyard setback of 25 feet, and whereas the applicant is requesting a variance from these requirements by proposing a 21-foot backyard setback. Now therefore, be it resolved that the request to vary the backyard setback distance to 21 feet is hereby granted, provided that all other ordinances and regulations of the City of Washington are met. The city engineer is hereby directed to issue a building permit for such dwellings as described in accordance with this resolution of decision. Jason Pellin,
Yes.
Kevin Creedy,
Yes.
Gwen Monto,
Yes.
Mark Scornia,
Yes.
Samantha Wacker.
Yes.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Enjoy your enclosed deck.
Okay, our next file is 25-0202. Deals with 1493 and 1497 Eugenia Drive in Washington. The applicant is requesting a variance to reduce the required minimum lot size for Unit 1 located at 1493 Eugenia Drive.
Okay, so this is an interesting situation. I learned a lot with this one as well. This property is currently R2. It's a duplex, and it has a condo association. That's that lot that you see highlighted in the teal color. Currently, it's a Unit 1, Unit 2 situation. They want to rezone that, and then they want to, subdivide so that they can sell. They'll have more details on the difficulties with that, but they're unable to get the financing that they need to sell the units as they're situated in a condo association. So we looked at this, and we saw that the lot size does not meet our requirements for the proposed zoning of R1C, which is single-family attached. And so for them to get the rezoning and the preliminary plat done, they need that variance so that they can have that smaller lot size for that Unit 1. Everything else meets code. Lot width is great, lot coverage is great, setbacks are great, everything else is great. The only other stickler point, which we have in the code to assist with this issue, is the green line up there on the top is our sewer line, our city sewer main. So if they subdivide, we technically have a rule that says each building has to have its own connection to the sewer main. But because this is a common situation where R2 is changed to R1C, we have verbiage in our code that says as long as this is on the plat, then it will be allowed, it's okay. And that verbiage is there on the bottom. It says, if any joint building sewer connection serving more than one unit is existing, each shall be entitled to the full use and enjoyment of that connection serving their unit, even if the connection serving their unit is located on the property of the adjoining unit, as you can see. That's going to be the case. So that's even taken care of. We just need a lot size variance.
Is anybody here for the applicant?
And Sarah, before we get to the applicant,
Yeah.
was I understanding correctly that the city staff recommends approval of this?
City staff does recommend approval, yes.
Thank you.
State your name, please.
Good evening. My name is Mark Frankenberg. I'm with Bishop Frankenberg here in downtown Washington. I'm representing the owners. Of course, we did the plat. We did get unanimous approval Monday night at Planning and Zoning for the rezoning and the preliminary plat approval, subject to the lot size. So what's happening here is really we haven't even changed the property line. This was subdivided like this many years ago, I think 2002 or 2004. And it was always the same sizes, so we're not really moving anything. We tried to come down and go around the setback to give the west lot enough square footage, but it was pretty much unsellable when you didn't own your front yard. So there was really no way of doing it, and this was the path we have to travel. So, and we did one over on Merriweather Estates on 15. And there we did 4 lots, and so we turned them into 8. 4 of the 8 lots are all below 5,000 feet. So this is not really an uncommon thing in Washington, and we really believe that as this moves forward and these move forward, more and more people are gonna wanna do this with the 0 lot line. So what we're asking is we get the zoning adjustment, or not the zoning adjustment, or the variance, so they can move forward and sell their property.
Awesome, thank you. Does
Thank you.
anybody
Thank
have any
you.
questions for him?
Thanks for coming out on such a terrible night.
Yeah, not that bad. All right, anybody opposed to this, want to speak to it? Okay, does the board have any questions?
I have a comment. I just, on my years of planning and zoning, I was always very attuned to minimum lot size. So I think it's important to point out that this proposal is not an intent to subvert the minimum square footage. It's strictly trying to correct a situation that they're faced with.
And I would argue too, that the cul-de-sac really hindered that lot, because if it had gone, you know, street level like the rest of them, we probably wouldn't be in this situation.
Everybody good? Okay, do you want to read it?
Sure do. Whereas the board does find and determine that the property in question located at 1493 Eugenia Drive is within the city limits of the city of Washington and is located in a proposed R1C single-family attached residential zoning district. And whereas City Code Section 400.065 F4, minimum lot area of 6,000 square feet. And whereas the applicant is requesting a variance from these requirements by proposing a 5,203 square foot lot. Now therefore be it resolved that the request to vary the lot size to 5,203 square feet is hereby granted, provided that all other ordinances and regulations of the City of Washington are met. The city engineer is hereby directed to issue a building permit for such dwellings as described in accordance with this resolution of decision. Jason Pellin,
Yes.
Kevin Creedy,
Yes.
Gwen Montel,
Yes.
Mark Scornia,
Aye.
Samantha Wacker.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Congratulations, build on.
Now
Gwen, we
So
need to
So
approve
on
the
the
minutes that were in the packet.
Oh, I'm sorry, Gina.
That's
Yes,
okay.
we do. Does anyone want to approve the minutes from, is that the July 11th, 2022 meeting?
I wasn't here, so I can't.
I wasn't here either.
I'll approve them.
All right, you propose it, somebody second?
So
I'll second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, approved. Sorry about that.
That's
Okay,
okay.
we're done here.
All right, Gwen, way to go.
Thank you.
See you, Jeff.
Changed it to something.
You bumble them all.
Yeah, I just kind of.
Okay, so you're going for.
You could put some, I know.
Yeah,
You could
breast
put- you
cancer.
could put something like that.
I'm doing okay, though.
Justin is
I'm making
approving
it. I'm doing all right.
minimum
This
lot
is
size,
curable and
5,200 just
fixable,
left it
and
at that, and let the city
so
engineer.
it's, I had to.
Typically, it's